see.
Both live.
Oh, yours looks alive.
Yeah.
Mine, I have to check. There you go. Oh yeah. Well, I got your live.
The notification, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which reminds me.
I hope everyone else gets that. Because I
Okay.
didn't really like announce it also, right?
I have to turn off my volume for my iPad.
Yeah, I'm gonna like
Your one is not,
share it now. I wonder if anyone is there.
Okay.
So now I have to share
See
it.
yours.
Right pose. Hey, no, it's not. It's supposed to be shared. Okay. I have to.
Stephanie Lai.
Stephanie is there.
Yes, I think so. Hi,
Sorry,
Stephanie.
Stephanie. I have to really get this like figure out first.
Yeah. We have to do all this sharing stuff.
Yeah, all the sharing stuff.
Well, I got notification for mine, so I'm live as well. So we're doing a concurrent FB Live on both the Jessie Lee public figure page and also the Kong Yu, the Journeyers page. So give us a second while we set up all the shares and all that.
Yeah, I really hope it works.
Okay. There's the option here.
And the line also, I think, is a bit not very stable. Meanwhile, Stephanie, if you see that, it's like, how's the live going on? Because like we have like so many gadgets going on at the same time. If the line is not clear or whatsoever, please do comment. Let me share on my personal Facebook.
Okay, tap to change.
Not very good at this.
Okay, post. That should be done.
Good morning. It's time to wake up. I've obviously not fully awakened yet.
You got it?
Yep,
Okay.
I got this too, Soleil, and this. I got one more to share. You continue on,
Really?
please?
Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go through the astrological phenomenon that we've experienced for the past couple of months or so. In fact, since the end of last year, and also sort of see how that information ties in from not just the Chinese metaphysics perspective, but also how it ties into a lot of the Western astrology perspectives that actually I've been doing a little bit of research on, listening to a lot of podcasts, YouTube broadcasts, and so on and so forth. And true enough, they seem to align with each other. And it's been a very important period as well because there's been a lot of things happening, as they say it. So we're going to talk about some of these convergences of the astrological phenomena, as well as hopefully shed some light through our discussion on why things have happened the way they have, and some continuing trends into the near and midterm future.
All right, I got mine.
You
Finally,
have?
I'm ready.
Finally done.
Good morning. Okay, I see Stephanie there, Janet. I see Brian, of course. Okay, and then Meikwan, selamat pagi.
Oh, selamat
okay.
pagi, Meikwan.
Brenda, morning to the lovely couple. Good morning. We have obviously, I mean, for me, it's like I'm still in my sleeping mode. This is the only Sunday that I can sleep in at home. All right, but yeah, I think it is really due. Oh, sorry. Hi to Kong Yu's fan page. So I've forgotten we have like 2 fan page going on, right? Okay. So this is really like something that we will hopefully make it short and sweet, because we find that like lately, ever since our last, even like the last Facebook live that I've gone through with probably Hui Yi and Wai Lun, right? Okay, we talk about the consecutive full moon that coincides with the solar calendar. Okay, all the transitions ever since end of last year was like really like, you know, transiting at the same at the same time frame, plus minus 1 day or maximum 2 days. All right, so that's why this morning itself we're going to talk about that. It's like, what is the effect it's going to bring on overall the emotions of the people.
Yep.
I have prepared here some research to talk about the impact of these things, and I would love to have your feedback. Okay, whether do you feel it? Normally people who are like sensitive enough normally if you do a lot of meditations or if you are in a spiritual path, right, I am sure that you will feel that the energy that is really surrounding us for the past few months, and also on the upcoming few months itself, it is really, really intense.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, before we go into details, okay,
Yeah.
a quick hello to John Kravitsky, who is watching all the way from the US. Yeah.
Hello.
If you can,
what time
John.
is it now in the US?
I'm curious. I don't know if you're still in Chicago. John, are you still in Chicago? And wherever you are, let us know by continuing to watch this feed, as well as also give us some feedback as to how the feed is going, and also where are you at the moment, John? So it's good to hear from you. Brian wants me to adjust my camera angle a bit.
Oh, okay. So it's a bit like lopsided, a bit
Correct.
tilted, right?
Yeah.
It's all the eating God requests.
All these, and of course I'm using like a little baby tripod, right?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, let me
So meanwhile, good morning, Alice. You're there, Melina Kong. Hi, Josephine Lu. Hello. Good morning. All right. I've been absent from Facebook Live for some time now because it's like it gets really, really busy throughout the Chinese New Year time, both with all the party feng shui consult work and also at the temple, which I've been like helping throughout. So it has been really, really a very busy period of time. All right. So now, but I think Kong Yu and I decided that this is really like we have to squeeze this in, like almost like quite urgently, right? Okay. It was a last minute decision, right?
Okay.
It was a last minute decision, and this is only, I would say that this is only the first part of it. We are really hoping that we can still coming in for a second part where on the day where the next full moon that's going to happen, okay, super moon. Right, so we're going to share about that. What is the phenomena for the past few months itself of these consecutive super moons? If those of you who you are exposed to following all these astrological cycles, you will know that since end of last year, in fact, December or November last year, you will see that we have a series of like a full moon that coincides with the solar calendar transition date, okay, and that is something that I've already talked about during the winter solstice episode of the Facebook Live. Okay, and there are a few super moons that really like comes together back to back, and I think the biggest one was last month.
February.
Yeah,
correct?
February 19 was like the biggest super moon ever recorded for this year itself, and that is like when the moon is nearest to the earth.
Correct. Generally, a supermoon occurs when the moon is at the closest distance to Earth, due to the elliptical type of orbit of the moon around the Earth. So February, as the Cap Dome one, was the closest supermoon, and then this one, the upcoming one in March 20th as well, right, which corresponds to the spring equinox as well. It's also a supermoon that is close, very close, but of course not as close as the February one. But it's also at what they call, I believe, 0 degrees of its sign. So this full moon that's upcoming is going to be at 0 degrees of Libra. So they also have those markers. So every time it's at the 0 degrees position, it also, from what I know so far, it also means that it is at a more intense position.
Yeah, and the funny thing is because it's like Kong Yu did quite a number of research based on the Western astrology, because obviously you can say that it's like I'm more Eastern, okay? I link everything back to the Eastern astrology, but to me it's like I find it's very interesting that we find like no similarity. It's like, of course it is not surprising, okay, because it's actually based on the same set of stars, right? So when we see the findings, everything, right, we know that like for this period of time itself, right, you will know that the full moon or super moon was nearest to Earth itself, and also for the Chinese astrology, the solar calendar transitioning date is also happening at the same day, if not plus minus 1 day.
Yeah.
All right, and this is like not just following the previous thread that I've done, the Facebook Live. It is some sort of like opening and portal, and now Kong Yu finds that it is also happening for the next super moon. Is happening at the 0 degree, where it's like if you do feng shui and all that, you know that that is exactly the death and emptiness line. And death and emptiness line, it means like simply means it's a void portal. It's where they suddenly everything connects, opens up, okay, where it becomes empty for that particular moment. And empty means, right, suddenly it's like you can find everything inside that. It's like a black hole. It's like it is a passage towards like lots and lots of like how to say, hidden informations, okay, or you can tap directly into, of course, like people who you are in tune to it, right, you can tap directly into our subconscious inner self, deep into it. Yeah,
I mean, in fact, the few portals generally, as Jessie was saying, right? So one, of course, is the ones that have occurred already in the past few months or so, starting even the end of last year. And then, of course, there's the coinciding of the start of the solar month with the new moon,
Yeah.
right? And we see that until which month?
No, actually, it all started since I trace back all the way down to December. I'm sure if I trace it back down, right, it should start somewhere in like even in November. Okay, where you see the solar and the lunar calendars is actually like all aligned together. So if you check right now, these things don't happen very frequently. Okay, there are certain years that you will see such a phenomena happens, and when I trace it back, right, okay, you will see that of course the highest intense supermoon that like even like the astrologers and all that, okay, is actually like identified as a consecutive between January 21st, okay, February 19th, that is the heightened peak of it, is like the strongest, and then up to March 21st, which is the next one, the equinox that you're talking about. And of course, we are aiming, if hopefully, I mean, no promise, but let's say if everything is fine, we will try to cover another episode about the equinox,
Right.
okay, which is on March 20th.
20th,
Okay,
right?
yeah, because 21st is the equinox, which is a full moon. On the 20th itself, we will try to cover another episode to zoom in deeper into what does equinox means and what is it going to help and what are things we need to aware of. But now I want to just touch on this like series of supermoons that are happening since end of last year, somewhere in November, December, and all this series of supermoon, just now I've checked, right, it will go all the way up to May or even June. Okay, yeah, okay, so it will still, up to June, then it will then not coincide anymore.
Okay, alright.
It will move out of alignment.
Right.
But even up to April and even May itself, you will still see there's a 2 days apart.
Right.
Okay, up to April is just 1 day apart. May is 2 days apart, and up to June, then it will really goes far apart from each other.
Right. As far as supermoon is concerned, I think the even the next one, not the Libra March one, but the one after that, April, is still a supermoon, albeit not at 0 degrees anymore. So from that Western astrology perspective, at least up to April, right?
Yeah.
But then the coinciding with the lunar calendar is
Yeah,
all the
it's up
way
to,
to the middle of the month.
up to May.
Middle of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah. Okay, and then of course when you say it's like the coinciding with like the degree, 0 degree and all that, it brings it means that February and March, okay, this particular two supermoons is the most intense, all right? Because everything you can see that the planetary alignments and the degrees and everything, it goes into a very strong aligned system. So what does it mean? And how is it going to affect us, okay, like as a human, okay, yeah, living in this earth itself, how is it going to impact us, okay, and what are the things that we need to watch out for? All right, so anything from your side, because you see, once I start talking, please stop.
It's okay. Okay. What else did you want to move to the emotional impact first, or do you want to talk about?
I mean, I only have, yeah,
Okay.
I only have the emotional impacts I want to talk about because it's what I see is all the news that we've been getting lately and all that. It's not that I deliberately go and like look at the news. It's like seriously because I really like right, the time schedule and all that. We really don't have much time to look into it, but it just pops out, okay, on my Facebook or on social media and all that. When all this news pops up itself, right, I knew that it's like probably it's like something worthwhile of Facebook sharing, so that probably people will have a deeper understanding to it and how to actually like make the best use out of this particular time frame. Okay, for people who are ready for it, you will find that it is magical. For people who are not ready for it, you'll find that it's disastrous. Okay, it really depends on how ready you are, how aware you are of what's going on outside, and how aligned you are, because everything out there is aligning, and if inside out of us we are not aligned to the same path itself, that is when people will find it is disastrous.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, just a little bit more on what's happening in the skies, right? Yeah, and it's also very fascinating to me, because like I like learning about different information and all that. So Western astrology is something that's completely almost new to me, and I find that number one, of course, it correlates naturally to a lot of other forms like Chinese astrology, that's one. And second, by just understanding the planets and the elements and correlating it to the elements that we study in Chinese Metaphysics, you really start to see a lot of even clearer information. Right? So one of the things I think is because there's this mix of energy that is bringing out a lot of emotions in us for whatever reason, for learning reasons, dealing with past karma, so on and so forth, and it really is forcing us and pushing us to learn these lessons, right?
Yeah.
And then coupled with the fact that a couple of other things push us to want to actually do that. So this year, generally, there's more of that sense of wanting to get things done.
Yeah.
Right? Expansion energy is always related to the year of the pig, and also corresponding to Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is the particular movement even since November. Right? And it really roughly only coincides when Jupiter returns back to the sign of Sagittarius every 12 years. So it's roughly every 4 years that it goes into that, because the last time it fell into that cycle was in the fall of 2006.
Yeah.
So just a few months into.
And very interesting, because
year.
when Kong Yu brought this up to me, it's like, okay, like, yeah, so some of you say it's like, oh, lovely couple or whatever. It's like most of the time, it's like our dating time is all about like really like talking about all these things, and I really find it very fascinating. That's when you have someone you can actually debate with or talk to, alright, not argue, hopefully, alright. It's like, because he actually brought up the fact that when you talk about like how like Jupiter goes into alignment and all these things, right? And seriously, when he talks about the Western astrology terms and all that, it's like I have no clue, right? Totally no clue. But I will actually put it back and to make sense out of the Eastern part of things. Okay, so when he talk about like the year of the boar from the Western astrological point of view is like a year of a new beginning due to the positioning of the Jupiter for the next 12 years or something like that, right? You were saying? And
roughly, yes.
And it's back to its palace or something
back
like
to
that.
its home sign. Yes,
Yeah,
right.
back to its home sign. And then
One
if you
of
look,
the home
yeah,
signs.
if you look at it from Chinese perspective, right? Okay, you see the year of the boar, it's always a beginning of a new reign of things. It means like a new command or a new leadership of thing, because it's like the boar itself, or the pig itself, is the growth star for the Jia. Okay, so in Chinese astrology itself, right? Okay, we pay a lot of attention to the leader, which is the Jia. That's why when we have the study of like Qi Wen Dun Jia, okay, Qi Wen Dun Jia itself is actually like how to protect the Jia, which is the king or the emperor of the whole entire system of the thing. Or you can see the 60 Jia also leads by the Jia, because Jia is the ultimate leader of the whole gang.
Right.
All right. So when you see at the year of the boar in the Chinese astrology perspective, it is also the beginning or the growth star of the Jia, where it starts all over again. And if you see the dog year, which was last year, it was like the death. It's like the ending, because dog belongs to the season of the autumn.
That's right.
All right, and when autumn comes, the matter is the strongest and it kills all. You don't see any trace of wood for the past whole season.
Yeah.
All right, so therefore, last year, which is a Wuxi year, which is like earth, very strong earth, means there is a ending phase of things in life itself. It's an ending phrase. It kills things off. Okay, and this year itself for Jihai, where it is a new growth of Jia, where this Jia starts to seed and starts to grow all over again, all started this year, and therefore it also resonates with new growth, new ideas, new seeding of things, new vision, okay, and new things to achieve.
Correct.
All right.
Yes, so that corresponds in that perspective. A quick hello to, because Brian, Teresa, Stephanie on this feed also, thanks Stephanie. Amy. Amy says hi to both of us.
Amy Lee.
Amy Lee, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy
I
Lee from
think she's
Ipoh.
watching from Ipoh, yeah.
Yeah.
John is watching from Milwaukee.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
all right.
The
I wonder
US.
what time is it now?
Yeah, what time is it, John? Let
Is
us
it
know.
night time?
It
It
should
should be
be.
night, right?
That's probably why it's free.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So there's that lasts all the way pretty much for 2019. This planet Jupiter returning back to one of its home signs, Sagittarius, and it corresponds to pretty much at the end of the year,
Yeah.
to the early part of December 2019.
All right.
You know, and then for this current period, why it's even more intensified in terms of the emotional side of things,
Yeah.
right? It's because starting March, I believe it's the 6th as well. The planet Uranus is also in its almost like its opposite comfort zone sign. I mean, it's out of its comfort zone in Taurus,
All right.
right? In the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is normally associated with regimen, solid systems, regular systems, whether it's to do with
Earth sign.
government. It's
That's
earth,
right.
correct. It's a more
I
earth
only know
element,
the 5 elements.
right? And then Uranus is about it rules Aquarius, so it's about electricity changes, shocking.
Zhenggua.
Yes, Zhenggua. Yeah, so it goes into that, and it's going to stay there for about 7 years, I believe, right? So it's the start of it, and it started really with the corresponding new moon, pretty much plus minus 1 day of March.
Yeah, and when he actually brings on this like sort of like information and news to me, right? Okay, I couldn't relate to what's Taurus or what's Uranus and all that because as you know, I'm very Chinese, even down to my food. I'm Chinese, all right? So when he tells me all these things, right, I just need to know what's the element, and then from there I have like a better understanding of like what's exactly going on energetically in the environment.
Correct.
And when he says that Uranus is supposed to be like a very like shocking like changes, electricity, electrified sort of things, it's something like a thunder sort of like image to me. So I relate that to Zhen Gua.
Right.
And now he says that this particular element or energy is moving to a house of Taurus, the planet of Taurus, which is like very earth, sort of like earthly, sort of like
regimented,
sort of like fits.
long-term systems.
And it is like it's like something which is carefree, over the place, instant moment, like how to say, sort of like personality now moves into a very confined, follow the rules, structured sort of environment. So it has a very strong opposing impact. Okay, so it really has, of course, it's always yin and yang. To my understanding, is like it has an impact of like. Either it actually, if it's strong enough, if whatever that electrified thunder changes, energy is strong enough, then it will like re-influence this structure of the earth. Where now it is time to actually break all these like regimented rules, okay, everything which is like very structured, it will impact that. But that depends on individual of like whichever element in your particular life itself is stronger. It's like, is the fire element like, intensified, like fire element is stronger in your chart, or is the earth element which is stronger? Are you the type of person that will really like, forget about everything and go out there and be impromptu? Right, and take a risk, or you are always back to that, okay, I am like have to stay safe, I have to stay stable, okay, so you have that very opposite sort of like a conflict that's going to happen, right, when that particular alignment of the planets takes place. That is like internal dilemma, as in like part of you wanted to risk something and like just make a shot, okay, just do things accordingly to that moment and make yourself probably happy and make changes. But another part of you might be like always thinking about like security, stability, have to go with the flow. It has been set like this for years or for generations, and I have to follow through the generations. So, and when that dilemma comes on together with the intensified supermoon or the void portal that's opening up, there will be a lot of people that somehow will experience a slight feeling or even intense feeling of depression. Because when you have this opposing element in you, there's a chances when the person will go into a depression state.
Correct, really depends on the person's chart, right? So whether or not the impulse to change overcomes or overtakes the impulse to stay stable, right, is really depending on where the configuration of the chart, whether it's the Bazi or whether it's a Western astrology chart. And the other perspective is, like that feeling of if you're not sure which way to go, so you're going to get very confused. And if your chart has elements of, say, metal, water, heavy earth as well for the Bazi perspective, and similar for the Western, then you might get yourself in a state where all these frustrations get very confusing, and confusion can then lead to a very strong feeling of feeling the blues and feeling down, and feeling maybe even depressed.
And remember, it's like the overall energy is like we are moving into a year where it's supposed to be a new start of things. Okay, something needs to kickstart anew, something needs to change. Okay, if we are so reluctant to change, we are not ready to face the reality and accept it, right? And whenever we are not ready to make acceptance in life itself, that is also when we will plunge into depression. All right, so that's it is very important for us to know what exactly it is in our life now that needed a change. Okay, our emotions are all signal, sort of like signal panels to tell us that you are feeling this negative, so-called negative emotions is because you are no longer happy at this state. Change something, all right? And all these things will really emerge out like tremendously. It's like intensified. So when these things comes out, it's the best time for us to now try to actually like calm ourselves down to find the answer. That's why when I do the research, right, when we go back down to the supermoon, you see that of course the the really like talk about supermoon started on January 21st, okay, which you also have a total lunar eclipse.
Right.
Okay, we talk about that. And February 19, which is a Chap Go Mei, okay, the 15th day of like which is the Chinese New Year. So also coincides with also the solar calendar. It's a transition, okay, and at the same time that is also the biggest supermoon of 2019. That is like the intense day. And from there onwards, the next one will be March 21st. It's also another supermoon that we have to pay attention to, which marks the equinox, the March equinox itself, okay? And we will talk about that on the next episode. But the thing is, I researched that the last time a full moon fall on a March equinox itself was in March 20th, 1981.
Right.
So it is not something that really like you see the how to say the alignment of like a full moon with a solar transition date. It doesn't comes by very often. Okay, in fact, if you really look into the March equinox itself, right? Okay, the previous one was on March 20th, 1981. That was like how many years ago?
Yeah.
The calculation. It's like somewhere like
30
it's
or
long
almost,
now, okay?
almost 40 years.
It's like long
Yeah.
time, okay?
Right.
All right, and then I also do a research, right? Okay, of course, the scientists are always pushing away the fact that when it comes to intense universal phenomena like supermoons and full moon and all that, it will impact on chances, even higher chances of earthquake and
That's right.
tsunamis.
Mhm.
Okay, now the scientists always says that it is not true, but if you really look back into the research in it, right? Okay, there's no doubt that full moon will actually affect a lot of high tides. Okay, and you see like a few very intense tsunami and earthquake that have happened, right? I just did a quick research, okay, last night. Now in 2011, on March 11, if I'm not mistaken, okay, March 11 itself, the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan. That's like the greatest tsunami. 2011, you know, right? Okay, that time, all right, okay, all right. And that is also a year where it also coincides like this year. Is that year itself, that moment is a back-to-back lunar and solar calendar portal opening. Okay, so if you check in 2011, you also have like the similar alignment that we are having in 2019.
Okay.
There's like a few years of back-to-back solar and lunar calendar. And then after that, we also checked on the 2004 Indian Ocean's earthquake and tsunami, which like very badly affect Banda Aceh and all that. I'm sure everyone knows that happens on, that one happens on like the Boxing Day, the December 26th. Okay, where it greatly affects like areas in Banda Aceh, even Bali was
That's
like
right.
greatly affected by it. Even Malaysia, certain parts of Malaysia was affected by it.
Phuket.
Yeah, okay. So on the 2004 of Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami itself, right, okay, it happens on the December 26th, which is a few days just off the winter solstice. But on that day itself, it's a full moon day itself. On the 26th, it's a full moon day. All right, and then you also have another coincidence, which is like coincidence, okay, 2018 December 24th. Now this was exactly like a few days after we made a Facebook Live of watching over the portal of solar calendar and lunar calendar crossing together, opening the vortex. And if some of you follow, it's not a major one, but Indonesia on December 24th last year, right, part of Indonesia, I've forgotten the name, okay, they also were hit by a tsunami, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Sumatra, I think.
Yeah, okay, so they were also hit by a tsunami on that particular day. So whenever you see that the vortex of like solar and lunar together, you will know that in a way, even the natural phenomena, they have an intense things. It's either earthquake or tsunami going on. And this will also greatly impact on human beings, okay? So if you really trace back, okay, of course, the major thing I will talk about now, this particular episode, is depression and chances of suicidal impact, okay? And if you really like look back into like last year up to now, right, of course suicide things is happening all over, every time. And to be very honest, is that when we're doing our Facebook Live here, probably someone out there is thinking or having a thought of like taking their life away.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so that is why I think it will be good. Let's say if we try to do something, and hopefully people who are ready, who are open to this, who are able to accept the fact that it's like taking our lives away is not a solution to things. All right. So if we understand, sometimes it's our emotions that is actually playing around with us. So if I actually just briefly look into like some research of like suicidal, like sudden things which like people around like can't even like understand. now. How do you pronounce this place?
San Jose.
San Jose, yeah.
Right. Is that earthquake related or murder?
No, it's a murder
Okay.
suicide
All right.
related.
But in
thing.
fact, like just a quick note, right? So they are also saying that this is the time. Actually, there's a couple more things. I mean, they say this is the time for really opportunity for healing.
Yes,
Right?
definitely.
So that's one. And then second of all, same, the Earth movements, right, with the Uranus entry into Taurus, they also project this trend to happen. That means shakeups in Earth, right? Shakeups in the ground and the Earth core itself. So this continued action of how the Earth will react and possibly, have more earthquakes, continued earthquakes.
Yeah,
and
but
also
whatever happens on
tsunamis.
the outside also happens on the
On the
inside.
inside,
So
exactly.
individually, there's also a lot of shake-up happening. So the issue is, are we ready to face the shake-ups or
Yeah.
not? Okay. So if we're ready, let's say for instance, if you have like places who are very very well equipped with like earthquake, how to say, prevention. Okay, so this particular area is probably they won't be impacted too much of the earthquake. So if they have done proper preventions, okay, they are ready for it. The same thing as human being. When all these things, all these shakeups happen, are we ready to accept the fact? Are we ready to heal ourselves? Are we ready to face it? All right, because if not, then the opposite of things will be like we'll go into a moment where we are fully taken over by the tsunami of our emotion. Right, the emotions splurge over and then we suddenly act on something that at the end of the day will risk ourselves and also risk the people around us.
Correct.
And we have round out, I have actually personally round out like a few news, which is like, wow, it's I'm sure it's everywhere, but ever since this particular full moon and super moon happens and the portal actually opens up since end of last year, right? You will see there are actually a lot of like shocking news, okay? News where it's like San Jose itself, I just read about it. It's like a murder suicide of a mom, okay? That actually like suddenly, and the mom is actually seeking depression sort of like treatment. She knows she needs help. She's in a depression state. All right, and the funny thing is that you try to actually try to Google about it, the San Jose murder suicide thing. My mother has been looking for treatment. She's seeing a doctor. She's been on medication. She's so loving. She's so kind. Everyone says that she's loving and kind. And then suddenly, okay, what happened is she just decided to kill her two sons or two children. I'm not sure whether they're boys. Okay, and then she committed suicide, just like that. Because I'm sure that the moment that is so intense, okay? So it will be good if you're listening to this, if you have any friends that you find that they might be in a moment of loss or they might be emotional, please share it with them. Let them know whatever you have, like the small little informations that you might have actually gathered today on this session. Let these people know. It's just that spur of a moment. Bear with it. It's just these few months. It's the best time for us to allow all these emotions to come out and to heal and to allow ourselves to be better and stronger after that. And not only that, sorry, I have to really like go through all these things first, okay? All right. And of course, also I also find that even in Bangkok itself, I just Google and it finds it happens in January. There are multiple killings and suicide at a New Year party. So as a New Year Eve, there's a New Year party going on, and then this guy, which is a relative, he's only 41-year-old. He went on to this house where the relative and the family are celebrating New Year. He is so filled with like anger and rage that he said that the family could not accept him. Okay, it's like he feels rejected from the family, and he took out the gun and I think he shot dead 6 relatives, including his 2 children. And then he committed suicide in the same house itself. So it's all about acceptance. It's like the funny thing is that when you look into all this, it's all about like how you will feel not being accepted in a society, how you feel rejected probably by the people that you love and all that. And this is a very dangerous thing if we are not aware of it and if we do not know how to overcome it. And I also saw another, like, this is a small little news on March 6th, which is a transition date, okay, on the solar calendar in Mua. This is funny because they say that it is in the star. It says a man believed to have wanted to commit suicide by jumping down the Sultan Ismail Bridge, okay? All right, somehow he was saved, okay, by the fireman there. He was saved. But the thing is, on March 6th itself, that is when the intense, okay, moment of the transition as well, he feels that he wants to commit suicide. And of course, it's like we have a lot of all this. And in Seremban, okay, it also happened in Seremban, right? Okay, a mother was found, like, a mother and daughter both found dead in a home where the daughter she's already in the 58 years old, and the mother died of like natural old age, okay? And when the mother passed away at home, she couldn't take it. She just hanged herself in the same house where the mother just passed away. So these are just all like a spur of emotions, of all about acceptance. So if you're listening here, right, whatever that's happening to you now, if you're happy, if you're good, you're great, you're ready for this, people who are ready for this big energy shift, okay, you will find it magical. This is the best moment, because this is the best moment to bring you or lift you to another level in life, okay, for a new brand beginning, a new start.
Right.
But if you're not quite ready for it, always remember there are always ways for you to find the deeper answer to things, okay? Don't be affected by the emotion so much. And I'm sure, okay, a lot of you here have heard about the recent event, end of December as well, last year, in Sunway Pyramid. All right, Sunway Pyramid is December 28th.
Malaysia.
Remember, that is when
Right.
the starting,
Malaysia, yep.
yeah, that is when the starting of, like, you know, where the vortex is opening since like December itself. And there's this woman who's with a friend shopping or whatever. Suddenly she just jumped to her death at the escalator. All right, and all these things happens, okay. Like we still have a lot of like informations that like people like artists and all that commit suicide, and of course the recent one was this, what, Keith
Lynn.
Yeah, Keith Lynn.
The singer, lead singer of Prodigy.
Yeah.
Amongst many, right? Because you've seen a trend, unfortunately, of many of these singers, and mostly singers. I don't know why. There must be some reason for that. Because I check, you know, news and happenings every single day, and it's unfortunate that every single day, every couple of days or so, there's some report of somebody who has taken his or her own life after some big incident, or they couldn't deal with this, they couldn't deal with that. That's already one thing. It's very regular, unfortunately, and quite regularly as well. Unfortunately, we've been seeing a series of artists, musicians, and so on taking their own lives also.
Yeah,
including Cleveland.
Yeah, and my think of it is that sometimes, because you see, it's for artists, probably for musicians. I'm not sure. This is just my own opinion. It's like, could it possibly be that because they thought their purpose is actually to bring happiness to other people. Their purpose is actually to bring joy, to be that, like, someone that other people will look up to them. They have to be good because they are in the eyes of the public, okay? And because of this also, it makes it even harder for them. I wouldn't say that it's difficult or even like not doable, but it makes it harder for them to actually be themselves. Okay, to accept who they really are, to accept that what they are going through, as they are also a normal person going through a process where they've been worshipped by a lot of like people. So when this happens, probably it makes it even harder for them to actually accept the reality.
Right.
Okay.
The reality that they also have issues, and
emotions,
they are
and they're just like
imperfect.
anyone else.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yep. A quick hi to Annie, Prakash, James, Luli, Cherry, Wee Heng as well. Sunita Bishan says interesting. So yeah, Sunita is a very she's a thinker, right? She likes to think about issues and all that. Yeah, Sunita, any questions? Let us know.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, it's like, for me, it's like the whole purpose itself is like just to highlight something short and sweet, hopefully, because it's a Sunday morning. I know probably like most of you here is like rushing out for like a family time together.
Brunch.
I am.
Sunday brunch.
Yeah, alright. So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you ever happens to find that you have been affected, even slightly, by that emotional turmoil that you might feel, right? Don't forget, it's happening outside of you. It's the energy that's happening outside that is affecting you now, alright?
Inside.
Yeah, inside. So be aware of it. In fact, it's the best healing time, like Kongyu have put it. It's the best time to heal. It's the best time for us to ask ourselves question. Why? Okay, what is it that we need to start anew, okay, in our life? Alright, is it perspective of like, can it be like, in terms of career, it can be relationship, or it can working on self, anything that you want to actually focus on to start anew for yourself. This will be a best time for you to plan ahead, okay?
Correct.
To have a totally new plan, okay?
Right.
To strategize.
There's a few important processes, which for these processes I'm still trying to handle better myself. One is, of course, the emotions that come up, right? And a lot of times they come up as anger, angst, things like jealousy, insecurities will pop up as well, right? Because you're just really prompted by those energies. So the first thing is you really acknowledge them.
Yes.
Instead of pushing them, instead of trying to like, no, it's okay, I'm not supposed to be an angry person, or I'm not supposed to be a confused person or depressed person, but you can, and you should allow yourself to feel those emotions first and foremost.
Yeah.
Then after that, only find a way of dealing with them.
Yeah.
Sunita here has a question. Even if you think you're ready or want some changes, how do you ensure subconsciously you don't sabotage yourself?
Nice.
Since these energies are quite challenging.
Okay, now I would say that is at the end of the day, if you really truly calm yourself down. That's why meditations, like grounding works and all that is like so important nowadays. If you really look internally into us ourselves, right? Okay, like our subconscious will not self-sabotage ourselves, because it's like the only, like when we are actually like taking into consideration, I mean, in my opinion, when we take into consideration the expectations of the external, that is when we will decide on something that will subsequently self-sabotage ourselves.
Okay, so the ego will self-sabotage itself.
Because in a way that if we really look into ourselves, it's like something that we truly know is best for us, okay, not for anyone else, okay, it's best for us to grow, to learn, and to be happier, okay. All these things will actually unfold as a platform for us to grow, to learn, a process, okay, right? And it is like, it's no right or wrong, because at the end of the day, you know that yin and yang itself, there's not because of like one is right and one's wrong. Both of it coexist together, all right? So it's like whatever decisions I've made is only a process of learning. For example, it's like some people might be asking, is like, should I change a job this year? All right, now if we are not derived, that particular question is not derived out of fear, it won't be a self-sabotage. Right. If you really feel like changing, there are surely some like reasons to the change. But if the reasons to the change is because I feel like changing my job, is because I cannot work together with the people that I'm working together now, it means the reason that instigate this change itself is out of fear. And that has a chance of self-sabotaging in a sense, because at the end of the day, we are running away from really like healing or learning or growing from it. But let's say if a person branch out from, should I change a job? But it's really because it's like, I find that the current job has really no room for me to grow anymore. I've learned most of the things here, all right? It's been on a repetitive mode. I'm going back to the same thing again and again, all right? And therefore, I need to make change in order for me to grow, to expand my soul, to learn and experience more things. Then there is no way you will self-sabotage yourself. Yeah.
And that's a classic Jessie Lee example. Also,
classic.
Yes. But it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that generally the subconscious will never self-sabotage, because the subconscious and the unconscious, okay, unconscious will leave it a different day, but subconscious will not, right? It knows what's good for you.
Yes.
It always knows what's good for you. But because the subconscious can seemingly trip up or sabotage the ego, that's when we can feel uncomfortable again if we're not cognizant and aware enough and brave enough to deal with the ego, and how the ego gets very uncomfortable when it's challenged. That's why.
Yeah, because for me, it's like really at the end of the day, if we're doing everything, it's like it's out of love, okay? There's no, I know some people were saying that, oh, it's so difficult for me because every move that I make now, I have to be very cautious because I have commitments, okay? I have clients like that. It's like I have like loans to pay up, I have debts to pay up, I have like houses to really like, and I say houses, it's plural. It's like all these like properties and all that for me to pay up. Yeah. But again, don't you think that when you get to yourself to this position in the first place, it's out of fear?
Yeah.
It's out of fear, it's out of greed, because the fear pushes us into greed. All right. So if you if you really want to free yourself, then ask yourself, it's like, how many homes will you be able to stay in at the end of the day? Okay, all these things is just like subconsciously we are trying to hold on to something to make us feel more secure, but these things is also killing us because it's trapping us. Okay, I'm not saying that we shouldn't go into investments, okay, but we should go at a gradual pace that we are ready for it whenever you're ready. But there's many out there trying to go overboard, okay, because out of greed, and that is subsequently what is going to bring them or sabotage them back into a very stuck or trapped position.
Correct. It's quite common, and there's so many other examples as well. That's a good example, right? We feel that we have to have this, and this in place because of the future, because we have commitments. Children, for example, is always the big one that people feel a lot of fear towards. As in, like they feel like they need to lock in a lot of properties, assets, cash, and future investments, so that their children are secure for the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just one example. And
But that's the thing,
Yeah.
because so that the children are secure in the future means we have lost trust in the children.
In the children themselves.
Yeah, because it's like,
really,
if we
you think
really
about
trust,
it.
it's like, why don't we just believe that the children can make on their own? Because of fear that we actually, in a way, that strip away the power in the children. That's like, I mean, it will be a sad thing to do, lah. Right? So it's like, that's why this period of time itself is best for us to really, really like look into all these issues. There's always an answer to things. There's always an answer to it. It's the best time for us to first feel and accept the emotion, and the next thing is ask ourselves, why are we feeling the way that we're feeling? Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a perfect opportunity, but we got to be able to remind ourselves, number one, to deal with it. That's why constantly have that, because if not, it's very tough. I mean, once you let the emotions, which you should be feeling, overwhelm you, overtake you, then of course you might react in a lot of ways that will not be so good to the people around you and even to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe even to your pets or what, right? So that's one. Then the second thing is you have to keep reminding yourself, because all these processes, internal processes are happening, right? You have to just tell yourself that it's good. It's good that these feelings are coming up. It's good that these emotions and memories are being relived, not relived, but at least they're popping up again, so that there's a route, a way towards resolving what are the deep-seated, 100% unresolved issues which are still popping up.
Yeah.
So give yourself the room to heal, to learn, and to move on to the next phase.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, I think the only words that I would say is like acceptance. Okay, accept who you are at this moment, but who we are now doesn't mean that this is going to be who we will be in the future. Because this is the best time for us to heal, to find out if it's we suck at something, and just accept it. It's fine. Okay, I mean, everyone can't be good at everything. Tells me about Western astrology, and I was like, what the heck is that? Tell me the elements. Okay, right? Don't tell me the name, because I have no idea what the names are. But when you relate the elements, at the end of the day, the universal elements are similar. Okay, so you will be able to, like, understand it as well. Let's say, for instance, if you are like, if you're unhappy, you're unhappy. You're sad, accept it. Okay, if you're fat, you're fat. Yes, I'm getting fatter. So what? There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so it's all a choice that we have actually made in our life itself. Okay, to bring us where we are now. So we just have to ask ourselves, are you happy with it? If you're happy with it, continue with it. All right. If you're not, then it's time for you to restart something, to change something, to make yourself better. But don't ever get into the reaction where the ego comes into place, and then it actually blurs us out, okay, from our conscious or wise decisions, okay, because in that spur of the moment, just like tsunami happens without thinking, it can actually be very disastrous. Just don't allow that things to happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect time. We've had this additional music going on behind us.
Yeah, I know it's like getting like very noisy here, but anyway,
Right,
it's like almost time. It's
right.
like, hi Joanne Vega,
Hi.
Karine, hi Karine. I see Karine, you're doing very well. I see you're going for all the marathon and all that. Very good, keep it up. It's very inspiring. All right, thank you for tuning in. Sunil, Mehbubani. All right, thank you. Happy Sunday to you. And then Evelyn Wong, thank you for watching. We're going to keep this short and sweet because it's like almost about like 15 minutes now. I think anything else from your side?
Well, a quick hi to Michelle. Good morning, Michelle. Thanks for watching. Ice. Hi.
Oh.
It's okay.
Hello.
Sunita.
Hi, Ice.
Sunita says thank you. You're welcome, Sunita. And Annie as well. Yep. Okay, and
All right.
we will start to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, okay, this session itself, I know that for the past couple of weeks, or is it more than a couple of weeks, you've been working on the report thing?
It's been quite a while.
Is it actually since the end of last
we started,
year?
No,
or early this year?
Early this year, yeah.
Early this year. It's actually been a few months okay,
Correct.
come to think of it. All right. And Kong Yu has been really working on putting effort to try to actually make up a report form, okay, in terms of the Chinese astrology perspective and all that, to be of service to some of you who you might think that it will be good for you. Let's Kong Yu have a sharing on that. Okay?
Yeah, essentially what I hope to do is in a report format, so that the person in question who is seeking some more answers and clarification and all that mainly through the Chinese Metaphysics way, because that's kind of my main grounding as well, right? Can actually have these reference points on key things that they need to remember, right? Particularly for 2019, because we're dealing with the current energy shifts and all of that, and we're dealing with the current opportunity and all these portals which are open for healing and getting well and all those issues. So with the references from the heaven, earth and man perspective, that means looking at the astrology chart, the passage chart, and seeing what tweaks can be done there, what key issues to watch out for overall for the current period of life, as well as for the current year 2019, right? Coupled with some suggestions on how, based on that information derived from the parts of astrology chart, can use some simple feng shui tips, right? To do using the major energies, the positive energies mostly, right? To spur on some of these strategies and changes that should be done for 2019. And then of course combining of course the art of conscious living element also into using things like symbolism, the power of belief. Some people like me, I like my bling, I like my jewelry, so and they all have a particular meaning to me, whether spiritual or not. And using all these art of conscious living, it could be placing symbols in the home, it could be using affirmations, empowerments, and even listening to songs to actually bolster those goals or to help in the more challenging negative emotions that can come up because of the current year.
All right, and basically it means that it's like a combinations of like all like heaven, earth, and man, sort of like combinations to help us to stay on path for the year, the year to come, because this will be an annual report, right? It's specifically targeted for that year itself. And of course, the part, because I've go through the report, and he's been also, because every now, like the first time I go through the report, it is like, you know, just like a few pages, and after it adds on more, and he's still adding things to it, okay? That's how he do things like he's an eating god, anyway, all right? Okay, so it's like, and the one thing I am happy with it is because all these are all like personally generated.
Correct.
Okay, so it is not on like a standard report form, so that if you have a similar day master, and then of course the standard part is there, but then all the personal date selections and all that is all personalized.
That is right.
Yeah, even the analysis of like the luck of the year. Okay, because I do have a sample report here. Okay, with me. Why don't we just show it from here so that you don't have that press? Okay?
Generally, you know, I look at the
you
overall,
might not be able to see.
That one you might have to move a little bit to your camera. I'll pull up my samples later.
Okay.
So it is all personalized. It's based on your personal astrology chart, where I make the readings for you. And then after that, the recommendations are all in accordance to your personal astrology chart, because I feel that that is where the key is, that's where the power is, right? Not generic information per se. So it's all personalized from the action viewpoint, what actions to take, from the astrology viewpoint, what possible feng shui boosts that you can add on, and then of course what dates might be suitable for wealth endeavors, learning, and so on.
And for me, it's like, honestly, the dates parts is the one that fascinates me the most. Because if you ask me, and people who knows me, if you're my client, I hate date selection in a way, because it's very tedious, all right? And in a way that, because he has actually put in the calendar and special dates toolkit for 2019, means like throughout your particular, how to say, party chart itself, right? He will now go through down into the month. Okay, that's how you go through, right? Because I see here is like, which are the best month for you for different endeavors in life itself, okay? The best month for you, and then from the month itself, he goes through the best date for you in that particular month, in terms of, it can be in terms of like career, okay, wealth, or even other dates when it comes to like, you know, you have here even for medical procedures. I mean, if you really need it, all right? If you don't need it, probably it will be a good time for you to just go for annual checkups, health checkups, or even like visiting a dentist or whatever. So I find that part is very compact, precise, and useful. So that is something that I'm like proud of, in a sense, because it will be very different from a lot of like generic sort of like a report which is like derived. Okay.
Right. So that's a chart that I currently have pulled up on my one. You can see that key dates and periods. So I'm gonna hold this. Hold this closer to your camera. Right, so this will be like a summary chart that comes with the report as well, where you have a key periods of maximizing wealth potential, and specific dates, excuse me, to launch business endeavors, anything to do with money and wealth. Yeah.
And if you know that like Kong Yu is like, of course, he's a very devoted like DJ, right? Okay. So I mean, for me personally, I've suggested. I'm not sure whether he has really the time to put in that part or not. Okay, it's not part of the report, but I really suggested and really think it would be a very good idea because he can even suggest up to like different songs which is like suitable because I personally greatly believe in like sound healing, okay, and I always believe that listening to songs itself is a very good way to heal ourselves, okay, to guide ourselves through because if we have the right selection of songs, okay, that becomes our daily mantras, right, it will actually boost us from day to day. But the thing is, because human beings has a high tendency to go back into a repetitive routine by playing the same album again and again and again. But you see, the same album might not be able to jolt us out from the existing sort of like environment or emotions. So I've suggested to him, which is actually, I think probably is working on it, which I really...
am seriously considering including it in the Art of Conscious Living segment.
Yeah, seriously means yes, he has a very high chance of including it. So it's like, I really feel that will help. Alright, for people, okay, instead of just knowing yourself, and then after that, at least how to prepare your playlist, your song list for the year. Which are them probably even up to the months, alright? Which months plays this list of songs, and then because especially nowadays we're in advanced technology where all these songs can be downloaded.
Correct.
Alright.
Yeah. So like for example, the sample which I'm flashing on my feed.
Yeah.
Right. So this person needs a dose of courage. It has to be more, risk. Don't be so chicken.
Okay, whatever
take
doesn't
more
kill you
action.
makes you stronger.
Correct. So then, so then that would fit. That sort
Yes,
of.
okay.
That suggestion of song list would fit this person.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
the climb. Or I'm obviously it's like I'm those like because of course there's many songs which is like available. If you really want to do it on your own, everyone can. But the thing is, because time is precious, right? Okay, it will be easier for us to actually just like probably purchase something where everything has been prepared for us, and we just refer to it whenever needed throughout the year. It's like a yearly like a handbook that keeps us on the path. So if you're interested in that, of course, like Kong Yu is actually soft launching it now. The official launch will come on March 20th, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a very special date, and in fact, like we will try to make another Facebook Live, the second edition to this Facebook Live itself on March 20th. We won't be here at this home at this hot place, okay? All right, but no promise yet because it really have to depend on how good is the connection, okay? But if it's good, on that day itself, we will launch and we will tell you a further deeper understanding about the March equinox. All right, what is it? So why is it so powerful? How is it going to relate from like both Western astrological point of view, Eastern astrological point of view, or even down to the tarot card point of views? Okay, in numbers. All right. So if you're around on March 20th, I'm not sure about the timing yet and all that. Do stay tuned. But meanwhile, if you're interested into the report, the party report service that Kong Yu is providing, please stay tuned. I think he's actually offering the report at 198 ringgit.
Correct.
Which is how much in USD?
It's slightly under $50.
Okay, it's roughly about like $50 USD.
Correct.
All right, which is 198 ringgit. And of course, Kong Yu is also a consultant. He's also doing a barter consult at 198 ringgit, the same price for a personal face-to-face consult. But the personal face-to-face consult, one thing is you have a personalized face-to-face session with Kong Yu.
Correct.
But the thing is, you will not get the personalized dates.
Correct. I will not be able to select dates for you in that 45-minute session.
Yes, okay.
Unfortunately.
So I would say that the report is a very good deal. But let's say for some of you here, you think that, you want both the report and also a personalized reading. He's actually throwing out a package together at 338 ringgit. Okay, that's 338, all right, for both report and personalized consultation.
That's
okay,
right.
enough of selling.
That's right. Yep. So rewind back in case you missed the details. I'll also put them once this FB Live feed is over into the details of this link. And of course, speaking of the link, we're closing up now. Please do help us share information that we have discussed, that we will continue to refer back to for the next FB Live, which we hope, of course, to do in abroad.
Yeah.
In an exotic country.
Yeah. So do remember, during this period of time, your emotions might be playing tricks on you. Hang tight, hang on. Don't resist it, accept it, understand what is it. Ask yourself, why are you feeling this way? It's the best time for healing. It's the best time for you to know yourself better. It's the best time for you to renew yourself. Okay? I am not what you think who I am. Is that the quote? I'm not sure. It's like Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel. Have you forgotten about Captain Marvel? It's marvelous. I love it.
It's a surprisingly good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think a lot of people weren't expecting very much, and the way it was, maybe it was just part of their reverse marketing. A lot of people were not very positive about the movie.
It's really good.
But it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. Go watch it.
Yeah, and remember that quote, okay? I am not exactly who you think I am. Because, of course, we are all much, much powerful than who other people think we are, or even we think of ourselves, okay? We are much, much more powerful until we find the core to it, the understanding to it, what happened, who we are, the purpose in our life, exactly how Captain Marvel, in a way, metaphorically, how to say, found herself.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So that's all. Okay, yeah, I think here...
We are being told to log out from my one.
Okay, all right, say bye to Kong Yo fan page.
That's right,
okay?
bye.
So thank you everyone for your wonderful Sunday morning here, staying tuned with us. Okay, hopefully to see you on the next Facebook Live. Definitely somewhere in March. It won't be anytime nearer because we'll be busy, like really traveling. And those of you who are thinking about having a personal session with me, I don't have any dates available until May this year. All right, so if you really need an urgent consult with me personally, it will need to be done through via video call or WhatsApp call. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much.
That's
we
right.
hope everyone will have like a great Sunday ahead.
And
Bye bye.
Bye bye. If you'd
Thank
like to
you.
get in touch with me for the consultation or the report, remember to just direct me.
Don't stop.
DM me.
Pauline call.
Direct message me on Facebook.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pauline. We have to stop. I have a
Yes.
family to feed. I have 4 kids waiting for me. They have not gotten their breakfast or lunch yet. Remember, money is important, but love and family time is even more important. Here, wishing all of you a happy Sunday ahead.
That's
Bye
right. Thanks. Bye bye.